Ladies and gents, folks of the YouTube, welcome back. So, we're getting into the swing of things. Got a bike on the lift, little Shadow 750 action, and yeah, we're getting all settled in at the shop, starting to do some projects, and this Shadow is going to be one of our first ones, so let's check it out. Before I show you the Shadow, I guess I should give you a little sneak peek on the old showrooms. Got a few bikes in, but the Shadow. So this thing's been sitting for about 5 years, and the carburetors are already off of it. They're underneath my bench, I think. I think that's where I put them. But owner, real cool dude, local guy, and he wants us to get this thing running. So we're gonna do a carb clean and a whole other laundry list of stuff. But I want to get it. I want to get the engine running first before we go crazy on anything else. But yeah, you can see she's got some corrosions. Well, our little Shadow project is coming along. I got the carburetors are on, and we started the bike, and it actually ran pretty good, or decent for not having everything hooked up. But man, what a mess in here! All these vent hoses and all that, and everything was disconnected and hooked up in the wrong place. And unfortunately, that's what happens when I get bikes that somebody else has taken apart and attempted to put back together. It takes extra time, and that's just all there is to it. But got it all figured out. Had to make some stuff work, but it sure does beat having to order stuff. And everything, like I said, seems to be working real good. So I'm gonna finish putting this thing together. And if you're curious and want to hear it run, I don't have any fuel hooked up to it, so can't run it too long, but it does run, and that's awesome. So in between working on the Shadow, I fit this little guy in. This is one of those Honda African Twin automatic jobbies. Yeah, this is actually a parking brake. Super crazy, but just did a general service on this and had to fix some bolts right here. For some reason, these battery bolts were in 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, apparently, and the owner rounded them off. So we had to do some drilling and all kinds of good stuff, but we got it out. Don't mind the chain lube there. His chain was awfully dirty, and I had to lube it because it couldn't leave here like that. But yeah, cool little project. Africa Twin. These things sound pretty crazy too. Super throaty for a stock exhaust. Yeah, sounds pretty good. You know, I'm a fan of these little Honda Shadow 750s, but there's a couple things that I'm not a fan of. So, changing the oil wise, I'll get in here so you can see. The drain plug bolt is right behind a water hose, so it's basically impossible to get a 17 in there with an extension. You end up having to use a little knuckle thing, and it's a super pain in the butt. Another thing that is really inconvenient is the coolant overflow tank is buried down in here. It's filthy dirty, so you can't see if there's any coolant in it or not. So that means when you go to check the coolant, you're basically guessing. On this one, we're gonna do a coolant flush, but it would be nice to just be able to see. But overall, these are good bikes, overall. And moving on to the coolant, if you look right under here, here's the water pump, and there's a little bolt that goes in there, nice little drain, and also a non-so-convenient right back there, there's another little drain that conveniently just, you know, dumps all over the starter, and not a ton of coolant came out of there. But Let that drain, fill it back up, burp it a couple times, and I think she'll be okay. All right, guys, that is a happy customer leaving on a Honda Shadow right there. So yeah, that was an interesting project. Definitely don't leave your Honda Shadow parked outside without the carburetors on it for 5 years, because it's gonna take a lot of labor to get it going, huh, Damon?
Yeah, to say the least.
To say the least. But we did all kinds of work to it: oil change, coolant flush, brake flush, carb clean, install. The biggest deal was we didn't take the bike apart, so putting it back together took twice as long as it would have if we would have taken it apart. And that's kind of the rule of thumb. If you take something apart and then bring it in, it's going to cost twice as much, because it's just hard. But yeah, fun one. As always, thanks for tuning in. We are really going to get back to regular scheduled videos now that the shop is getting pretty set up. I got a new camera coming on the way tomorrow, hopefully. And we'll get back to doing more regular videos. But thanks for tuning in. If you happen to be new, don't forget to subscribe while you're here, and we'll see you on the next one.